Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the Beaver Sports Show. I'm Jenna, Lade.
I'm Josh Worden.
And I'm Jake McGrady.
We got a lot to talk about this show, but first we're going to have Riley Wynn talk about last week's game against Cal.
Research Stadium was filled to the brim Saturday night as it was the Beavers' homecoming. They were up against Cal. In Cal's first drive, the Beaver defense forced them to kick a long field goal, which they missed. At the first quarter break, the Research Stadium fan paid tribute to the Giant Killers, Oregon State's most notorious class. The Beavers get their first touchdown of the day from a 3-yard touchdown pass from Sean Mannion to Ramel Dockery. Jordan Billman scored the second touchdown for the Beavers off a 9-yard pass from Sean Mannion. Chris Brown ran in the first rushing touchdown for the Beavers from 17 yards deep. Ron Ward had a 16-yard rushing touchdown at the beginning of the fourth quarter for the Beavers. In the game against Cal, Sean Mannion broke the all-time passing yard record in the Pac-12.
Riley, and now upcoming this Saturday, OSU is against Washington State. This is going to be a very interesting game because their head quarterback, Connor Halliday, is out for the rest of the season. Now they have freshman quarterback Luke Falk coming in. How do you guys think this game is going to play out?
Luke Falk threw for almost 400 yards in their last game against USC, and that was barely over a half of play. So he clearly still gets the offense.
Getting used to it, yeah.
And he still will put up big numbers. He has a little bit more speed than Connor Halliday does, but clearly Washington State's offense will be slightly diminished.
Yeah. Right. Jake, what do you think?
I think, like you said, he's not by far a terrible freshman quarterback as a replacement, but obviously without Connor Halliday, I think they take a huge hit. You saw how they performed so far. But I'm going to have to go hands down Oregon State. I think if we lose to Washington State without Connor Halliday, it's a bad sign.
I mean, looking at it for what it is, and we have, 2 games to win to go into a bowl game, I think that this is definitely going to be one of those games for us just because I feel like that team still needs to figure things out with a new quarterback. Yeah. I'm sure throughout practice they've been working on that a lot, but with our team staying steady, I think we're going to come out with a win.
And the Washington State defensive backs aren't up to the task against Sean Mannion and the passing offense.
Especially the cornerbacks, too.
Yeah, and I mean, if they could bring Dayon Buchanan back from the NFL, then maybe they would be decent, but they can't do that.
Exactly.
And so if Oregon State beats Washington State, then they have 3 games to win 1, and they put themselves in a decent position to at least get into a bowl game.
And we will see Saturday. You can catch the game against Washington State at Research Stadium at 1 p.m. We encourage you to go to the game. If not, you can catch it on the Pac-12 networks. All right, now it's time for the hashtag game. So, hashtag number 1. Prior to this Blazers and Cavs game, some old tweets by Damian Lillard resurfaced back from 2011 when he was at Weber State of basically him trash-talking LeBron. It's stuff that I can't even say on air because it's a little too inappropriate. So give a hashtag for how Dame is feeling right now that these have surfaced and everybody knows about them. Jake?
For right now, I don't know about right now, but I was going to say I don't give a Dame. Which, I don't think they're too big of a deal because it's 2011. That's what he was feeling at the time, obviously. But he feels bad for it, and there's just some weird computer nerd that hacked him up, so I don't give a damn, right?
Something you would do.
Yeah.
All right, Josh.
Hashtag college, because Damian Lillard is still an extremely young NBA player, and when he was in college, as we know, sometimes certain social media aspects are less than mature, especially ones tweeted at celebrities of sorts, and so he can explain it just by saying hashtag college.
That's honestly very true, and that's a good point on that one. You have a better point, but I gotta give it to Jake for the creativity.
Yes.
Good job, Jake. Next time, Brett ties. All right, so hashtag number 2. Brooklyn Nets owner Michael Prokhorov fired some shots at former head coach Jason Kidd. He was quoted saying about Kidd, "I think there's a nice proverb in English, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord has split you." He's also said, "I think we should get even. We'll see it on the court." All right. Odd. Not saying he's a crazy Russian, but slightly indicating that.
Slightly crazy.
Give a hashtag for this situation. Jake?
All right, so I don't think he's a little too quick to judge, so hashtag Russian to conclusions. Russian instead of rushing, like the rush.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good one.
Yeah, he's judging.
Props, Jake, props. Okay, Josh.
Okay, I would say that both Jason Kidd and the Brooklyn Nets coach would say the same thing to each other, is that if they ever see each other again, they better get out of there. Not just get out of there, better get Russian out of there. Also, you gotta be kidding me, because I couldn't go without using Jason Kidd's last name. There you go. You gotta be kidding me.
See, that's 2, so that
I've never
technically
heard that one before.
disqualification.
That's crazy. All right, Josh gets the win for the double hashtag.
What? Let's establish some rules. Now it's
Sorry,
anarchy.
Jake.
I can just do whatever.
I'm sorry. Okay, last one. Hashtag number 3. So last night the Blazers beat the Cavs 101-82. I mean, it's always going to be a big win beating LeBron, even though he's starting out with the Cavs. He's going to be a little rusty, but still, huge win. So give a hashtag for if you think the Blazers are back on track after this huge win. Josh?
Well, the question is, are the Blazers back on track? But the Blazers mascot literally is the Trail Blazers. They don't get back on track. They make their own track. So they aren't back on track. They're back off track, which is a good thing because that's what the Trail Blazers do.
Boom.
Okay, so mine's a little less analytical than that. So the question was, are they back on track?
Yes.
So hashtag choo-choo. Because they are indeed back on track and they are steaming down the tracks like a steam engine. Because I drew one. That's steam engine train.
Very artistic, but I give it to Josh. Alright, that's it for hashtag that. So now we're going to do a little NBA talk. So I know one thing that's huge was the win for the Blazers last night against the Cavs. What do you guys think about that game?
Huge win, huge statement. 2-2 back on track.
I think it was a big win for the Blazers, but I have to admit, LeBron James just looked off. I don't know if it was because it wasn't a playoff game. I don't know if he isn't used to wearing a Cavaliers.
Something?
The last time he wore a Cavaliers uniform, he was 3 years younger than he now is. It's like
they're getting into the groove, though. It's the same thing that happened in Miami. It was the first 10 games.
It's like this.
Plus,
you know how MJ lost his shoes, and then every
Yeah.
time someone wore MJ's shoes, they became like MJ? The LeBron James Cavaliers jersey had his LeBron James talent when he was a Cavaliers player, which is really good, but not as good as he is with the Heat. He's putting on the Cavaliers jersey again. He's only as good as he was the last time he played in Cleveland.
I definitely think it's something that they're going to have to get used to. It's also the team dynamic, too.
Yeah.
It could just be like the feeling of being off, working with a bunch of these new teammates.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's just like, it's crazy to look at the numbers and how high scoring our main people were. You know, Damian Lillard just went off with 27 points.
Yeah.
Wesley, 21. Lopez had a lot of points, 19 points. And then there's LeBron with just 11 points. I mean, that's shocking to see. I know Kevin Love did really well, but for LeBron, I mean, that's pretty big for everyone else to just kind of stomp on him like that.
Heck, even Wayne Tinkle almost got in there and scored a basket.
Jumped out of the stands and dunked on him.
The Silver Fox was there.
Yeah.
He was on attendance.
Shout out Wayne.
Shout out to Wayne.
It's gonna be an interesting dynamic this year, that's for sure, with the Cavs. They're gonna click eventually. I think it's gonna take probably a solid 4 more games.
Do you think if Wayne Tinkle was the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers, would they advance in the playoffs?
We'll see how he does with Oregon
I
State.
mean, yeah, let's give him a season with Oregon State before we diss on old Stotts.
But knowing
Terry Stotts is a great coach.
He's a
I'm not
great
saying
coach.
against Terry
That's
Stotts.
true.
I'm just throwing it out
Both
there.
great coaches.
I just think if the Blazers stick to how they played this game in comparison to the last two
Same
games.
energy, yeah.
If Damian Lillard shows up every single game, if he does what he needs to do, if they keep that dynamic going with high points for most of their players, they're going to do really well this season, I believe. And that's a wrap for tonight. I'm Jenna Lade.
I'm Josh Worden.
And I'm Jake McGrady.
Have a good night.